So before I update you on the status of my not quite Jackbox game, and there is something I could actually use you gremlins' help with for that, so stick around to the end, I know what you're thinking. Harry, this isn't the AI the Somnium Files video you promised you'd make today. You said you'd do that in your video where you said you'd have a schedule for the first time in like 5 years. Yeah, well I'm sure the Tsar didn't want to be executed by communists, but we don't all get what we want out of life. As far as that's concerned, that's probably coming on Thursday, because this one's going to take a little bit more work since I have a bit of a dumb plan in the pipeline for it. For this, I wanted to go back to the thing I was working on for my previous video and give you a status update, because good lord has a lot happened in the last 48 hours. First of all, the website side of the game has been improved considerably. I've implemented Bootstrap, which is a fancy term for some style language that makes the website responsive on both desktop and mobile, so this game can now be played properly on smartphones. Player input is now slightly more secure. I've limited via JavaScript what you can type into the input boxes, so no spaces, no symbols other than dots, and otherwise only letters or numbers. Because my SQL code relies on commas, brackets, apostrophes, semicolons and the like, the player can't put that code into the input field and break the server that way. That isn't to say that the code is now 100% safe. As of the writing of this video, the game's database isn't backed up, but I'm going to do that before this video goes live, because to be honest, not backing up the most critical piece of infrastructure is the dumbest thing ever. And B, the actual code that passes the input still doesn't do any data sanitation. What that means is that if someone reads the code of the web page, which anyone can do because inspect element is a thing, they can figure out where inputs get sent to and then make their own data requests that can hold any input they want. All I've done so far is prevent them from breaking it using my web page directly, which is like a participation trophy. It's a well done for walking in a straight line. It's a thank you for successfully breathing enough that you didn't drop dead at your desk. It's a you got out of bed today, would you like a medal? You know, that side of things isn't done by any means, and now that the core functionality of the game is actually done, I can focus on that next. Speaking of, there's gameplay now. How it works is the player is shown a series of items and told to guess how much they're worth. Pretty much like that game The Price is Right. The player who guesses closest to the correct price without going over wins. I playtested it with Matt, who you can follow on Twitter at RasmusMakesGame by the way, and it even didn't break. I'm able to send answers to it by phone, it receives them, handles them, processes scores, even has a cute intermission sequence that I'm quite fond of. It is my son, and I love it. It still has a bit of a panic if players don't send answers in time, and I should probably come up with some other way of handling connection errors and stuff rather than just letting the computer sit still forever and think about what it's done. But assuming you do it mostly right, the game actually does work as intended. It's very exciting. I spent a bit of it today throwing voice lines into it too, mostly draft stuff for now that I can change later, because to be honest, there's a couple of questions where I'm not sure I'm satisfied yet with how it sounds. I'll let you be the judge. So some higher end pencils can run you something like $6.99 for a pack of 10, but this person has the audacity to charge this much for one. How much? Well, in US dollars, that's the question, isn't it? But once I put in enough content, the game will be playable all the way through. At least, you know, theoretically. Anyway, I still want to add stuff like extra rounds and power-ups, maybe, though I'm not really sure how I could implement that latter one. It would take even more HTML nonsense to do and require even more validation code, and it's so long already. The most fun has probably been making the voices for the questions. Not just the questions even, but for the little barks that happen when the announcer's like, oh hey, player one, you successfully turned up. You know, that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not a fantastic voice actor by any means, so if I ever go professional, I'll probably hire, like, you know, Matt Mercer or something to replace all of the vocals. But for now, I think it'll do. I don't really think I envision myself, you know, selling it, at least not until it looks like something I could comfortably charge money for on its own merits and also without being sued. Maybe, you know, one day I'll just dump it on itch.io and stop thinking about it. I don't know. Anyway, that last bit sort of neatly leads into what I wanted to ask you guys about. So I sort of kind of massively fell down the rabbit hole on this one, and I sort of see this project lasting a while, so what kind of phone as controller games in this sort of style would you like to see? You know, to sort of get the ball rolling, I'll tell you about a few I've been thinking of so that you understand kind of the thing I'm going for. So my first thought was, what if a Persona-style RPG with like a full RPG party with movesets and stuff, but where each individual party member is controlled by a player making choices from their phone? I know how dangerously overambitious that sounds, and the other functions of it would have to be massively pared down. Obviously an MMO is beyond me, but some sort of simplistic RPG combat system for a party game I think is doable. I also think it would be kind of neat, you know, there's potential for strategizing, teamwork, planning, triumph, defeat, joy, sorrow, betrayal, the works. Another thought I have is a bit more out of the traditional party game kind of stock.
Imagine Democracy 3 meets Quiplash meets Patently Stupid and you have the rough idea.
Essentially, the leaders of all the major nations, who are the players, gather together in one place and try to just, you know, hash out the world's woes over coffee or something. Each player gets a series of prompts with an opener like,
the biggest issue facing the world today is X.
and they complete for X, and then they give their prompts to each other and try and sell each other on their solutions to them. Whoever gets the most votes gets the most points at the end wins. You get the idea. I also can't shake this idea of this massively like simple civilization style thing. Like all the players have countries or groups or factions or something, and you can just take one of a few simple actions to build up your thing or mess over other people. I keep thinking about this one tweet I saw about wanting simple but consequential strategy games that could be picked up in about 30 minutes, and I really believe doing it in this medium might be the way to make it happen. I don't know, who knows. Anyway, so those are some of the ideas that are sort of rumbling around right now. If you guys have any thoughts about sort of control from your phone party game kind of things I could include in this, I guess, collection I'm hoping to make, your input would be greatly appreciated. Quick pointers: I can't make the next Skyrim in a day. It's not going to happen, so try and be realistic in what you suggest if you can. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I also have a Discord server, so if you'd rather shout at me there rather than here, I've put a link in the description and in the pinned comment. So that's about all I have at the moment. I'll probably have more to say on this pretty soon, because I've been more excited about this project than I have about most of the other stuff I've worked on recently, so I'm feeling confident that maybe I've hit on something I can actually make happen. F in the chat for Eagle Down, goodbye.